Hello from Ataraxia Wines. My name is Kevin Grant, and I'm speaking from a very quiet and locked down wine lounge tasting facility that we have on the farm. But we've got something ahead of us that's really worth looking forward to, and that's International Sauvignon Blanc Day on the first Friday of every year. So on the 1st of May, Friday the 1st of May, we have this wonderful opportunity to celebrate a grape that has enormous popularity in South Africa. So I thought I'd spoil myself and have a look at the current vintage of our Ataraxia Sauvignon Blanc, which is the 2019, and then pull out from my wine library a bottle of 2008 Sauvignon Blanc to see how she's holding up after 12 years in the bottle. So before we get started with the tasting, just a little quick note and mention what the raison d'etre is for Ataraxia Sauvignon Blancs. First and foremost, they are expressions of a particular soil, in this case Cape granite, table mountain sandstone, free draining, loosely structured, sandy types of soil. It's also our unwooded white wine. And then thirdly, and almost incidentally, oh, by the way, it's a Sauvignon Blanc. I think aromatic varieties are wonderful varieties to be planting on Cape granite, table mountain sandstone, sandier kind of soils. They showcase the fruit, and that fruit then serves as the skeleton to build on the personality of a wine that goes far beyond just fruit. So, cool climate Sauvignon Blanc, characterized, in my experience, over now 30 years of winemaking, something that's more minerally, more saline in character, more briny. And we've never been able to create and realize that our vineyard is one that does not deliver on a fruit bomb, but there's an underlying fruitiness that helps to express other things in the wine. So let's have a look and see on the two wines. We'll start off with the 2019. First of all, the color's got wonderful little flecks of green in it. It's looking very vibrant and fresh. Nose is showing some fantastic fruit that is not invasive, it's not bombastic, it's not shouting at you. It's kind of inviting me to have a taste of it. There's more about stoniness, wet stone, and almost sucking on a river pebble in that nose. It's a wonderful precision to that wine. It's a very precise and focused element to that wine. There's a zesty acidity to that keeps everything together. So that's a really comforting drink. That's something that I would say I'd like to spend the evening with. I really get disappointed with wines when after half a glass I need to push it away and say it's just too much sensory overload. That's nothing of that. That's a wonderful poise and balance, and I'm hoping that the tasting of the 2008 will bear out that our wines can age, and that this 2019 is really still in its embryonic stage. We'll see. Let's move over to 2008. So I've just poured this wine, and the first thing I notice is that the color is still very, very youthful, very alive. There's hints of yellow in there, but it's certainly not deep hues of yellow. You can see it's certainly a slightly older wine. But I was expecting maybe a 12-year-old Sauvignon Blanc from South Africa to be slightly darker in color. This is not. This is wonderfully exciting. Whoa, that's alive. That's very alive. There's nothing tired about that nose at all. No, the fruit is perhaps not quite as it would have been in younger times, earlier times, in 2008, 2009. But there is certainly a nice contribution of the starts of bottle age in that nose, and very much alive, very much something I'd want to get my tongue onto, my palate onto. The acidity of this wine has definitely ensured that it can and has stayed very much alive. That's beautiful. That's very, very together still. There's nothing old age about this wine, and mindful of the fact that it's a 2008 when I opened it a couple of minutes ago. I was mindful of the fact that it's the first time in 12 years that the wine, this particular bottle, has had contact with the outside world, that has the opportunity to interact with the outside world. And so often we must just really think about that and give a wine time to adjust to being exposed to the outside world after so many years. We can't expect it to come out with all the bells whistling and doing the can and doing the high kicks. But I'm really fantastically surprised about that. I'm thinking that so often we think that in a wine that the vintage is the sell-by date. Certainly not in the case of this wine, and I would suspect certainly not in the case of many South African Sauvignon Blancs that are grown in cool areas. 2008 is not the sell-by date, but we certainly got some wonderful layeredness and complexity that has been added to the wine over time. So that's pretty impressive in terms of being able to age so well, especially in the marketplace, where it'd be probably nigh impossible to try and sell off a 2008 vintage to the into the marketplace. But it goes to show, right place, right terroir, sensible winemaking techniques, good cellaring practices, and you can coax a wine that seemingly doesn't have any degree of longevity in it into some years where it can be really pretty special and pretty rewarding. So to Sauvignon Blanc Day on the 1st of May. Enjoy it, crack open a crackerjack bottle of Sauvignon Blanc and spoil yourself, and allow the wine to just keep you company throughout that entire day.